What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Friday, July 9th. Hopefully you guys are having an incredible week. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful weekend as well. But let's get into the update for today. First, President Biden, he is applauding the child tax credit payments. This is actually really good, but not just for people with children, but for others as well. What we know is these payments, these will be $1,800 in cash payments, or up to $1,800 in cash payments over the next 6 months, starting next Thursday. The good thing is that this will be going to children between the ages of 0 and 5. People that are, or children between the ages of 6 and 17 will be receiving a $250 check per month for the next 6 months. It all starts on July 15th, and every single month on the 15th you will get a check, except for in August you would actually get the check on August 13th. So what we do know is that the remainder of the money, either the $1,800, that will come, but that will come when you file your tax return in 2022 for the tax year 2021. Now, here's the reason why I bring this up. We are getting an additional push for more checks. We're not hearing these talks of stimulus checks. We're hearing more checks. A lot of lawmakers are applauding and simply touting the fact that they are getting more checks to the American people. But here's the issue. One thing that we know right now is there are going to be about 36 million families that will receive these child tax credit payments. But many experts and many lawmakers say that this is not enough because they are not going to every single American out there. President Biden and many Democrats have been applauding these payments as a saving grace for Americans. They say that these payments will give Americans a safety net, which it would. It will give the American people the ability to pay for food, pay for services or rent, and other necessities. But again, this is only going to 36 million families. This means there are tens of millions of families that are not receiving a single penny. Now, why is this important? I bring this up for two main reasons. First, the group of people that don't get the child tax credit payments, well, they will most likely have a tougher time because we are going to see, as the payments come out, we are going to see that inflation will start to increase. The cost of products are going to go up. The cost of services will go up. Gas prices are already going up. Just over the past 7 days, the past 7 days, and I know this because I put gas in my car on July 2nd. I have not had to put gas in my car until last night. So in the past 7 days, gas where I live has gone up about 13 cents per gallon. That is in 7 days. Or about 6 to 7 days. That is insane. That is insane. Over 10 cents in a week, that's quite a bit. And so this is what a lot of people are saying is right now, these people that do not get a child tax credit payment, they are going to have a tougher time. The second reason why I bring this up is because this large group of people of these additional stimulus checks is going to increase the cost, right? We know this. But the problem is lawmakers were not discussing additional checks to people outside that are not getting that child tax credit payment. But these are the things that could potentially change. I stated this the other day that we are actually seeing some reports of a stimulus credit. And this would essentially go to people that do not have children, or at least that is what the reports are alluding to, that if you do not have a child, you don't get a child tax credit payment, you could potentially get maybe an individual stimulus or some other payment, right? And so even though there's not a lot of details on what is being discussed, and again, lawmakers are still on recess, but what we know is they are working on the legislative text for the bipartisan bill and the budget reconciliation bill. So we'll see. Reports this morning, they do indicate that as it's really only a matter of time before more lawmakers decide to come out and support additional stimulus to those that do not get a child tax credit payment. Some have been saying, oh yeah, we need to provide more for people on Social Security, but they put a plan together, but there's really nothing that comes after that. They're not getting the support of other lawmakers. They say, oh, we need to provide more for parents. Yes, we need to provide more for college students. Yes, I agree. We need to provide more for veterans. Yeah, we do. But are we? Are we going to get any of this stuff done? Right now, the question is whether or not this child tax credit payment is going to be extended. And here's the reason why I say this is the question. This is a big question because some lawmakers are saying, they do not support an extension of the child tax credit payments because, number one, they haven't seen how they work yet. The payments come out next week. So we would potentially see some data in the next month or two as to how effective are these payments. Are they pulling children and families out of poverty? Are they making sure children have enough food to eat? Or are more and more families applying and qualifying for SNAP benefits? If that's the case, these payments aren't doing exactly what lawmakers said they would. Some are already saying that until this information comes out, they won't either support or oppose the bill, but others say they will not support it either way. So again, this is the question is, will these be extended? If they are extended, will these be extended and an additional stimulus check or tax credit come to those that don't have children? We don't know, but we will find out very soon. What we do know is that the Senate is still working and committees are working on the legislative text. So we should have an answer or multiple answers to all of our questions probably within the next week or two. What I can tell you is right now, lawmakers are continuing to push the IRS to try to get more payments out to the American people. The lawmakers are saying that right now there's too many tax returns that are not processed, that the American people need this money. The last report was about 35 million unprocessed tax returns going to the American people. That is a huge issue. We also know the unemployment income tax refund, those are still being sent out. The IRS says that their goal is to have these out by the end of the summer. However, these would also include checks that are or paper checks, okay, physical checks, not just direct deposit. So this is one of the issues is right now they are saying that this is something that they want to do, they want to get done, but at the same time, the child tax credit payments are actually slowing them down. So the child tax credit payments are slowing down the refunds to the American people who many will not have children and will not qualify for the child tax credit payment. So they're looking at this as like, okay, well, you're going to prioritize the child tax credit payments while 35 million Americans are still waiting on their tax refund checks that we could actually use that money today and actually pay for our bills, pay for rent, pay for food, and other necessities. And a lot of experts say that this is ridiculous that the American people have to wait this long. Okay, we're 7 months in. We are 7 months into the year, and people are still waiting on their tax refund checks. So that's a big issue. Now, something else I want to address is a new unemployment issue. Okay, and the reason why I want to bring this up is because this is actually pretty interesting, and this is something that we've known that has been going on for a little while, but experts are now saying this is becoming a major, major crisis. Right now, what we know is many Americans have decided to leave bigger cities. They leave San Francisco, New York, Seattle, right? They leave all these bigger cities and they go to smaller cities. They go to the suburbs, right? They're working from home. But here's the issue. With all these people leaving bigger cities, going to smaller cities, moving, different, across the state or to different states or even across the country. What we are now seeing is that, and this is due to the cost of living in those larger cities and the cost of products, the cost of housing. What we are seeing is that now bigger companies that are located in those cities, those big cities, are actually struggling to fill their open spots. Well, this is one issue, but it's not the big issue. The big issue isn't those big companies that are struggling to fill their spots, their vacancies. No, that's not the big issue. The big issue is this. By all those people leaving the bigger cities, those high profile jobs, right? What's happening, and many of these people are holders of advanced degrees, years, decades of experience and the qualifications that come with whatever job they're trying to get. What we're seeing now is that a lot of the smaller companies from these smaller cities, or not so big cities, they're actually hiring these new people to come on in, take over a position because they are more qualified. They have more experience. They have degrees. And so they are hiring these people, which is then in turn laying off the people that have been working for them throughout the pandemic. And now those people are going on the unemployment line and trying to find a new job. Well, if all the people that are leaving the big cities are going to the small cities and going and taking the jobs there, well, what does that leave for the other people? It either leaves them with, okay, well, you don't qualify for this a sales position anymore. You're going to have to go and be go work at a restaurant. And I'm not saying restaurant workers are lower than a sales position. I'm just saying those are the jobs that are open. You're going to have to go work at a hotel. You're going to have to be a landscaper, right? You're going to have to go and do some other job. And that's the issue is, well, then it's like, well, I don't have the qualifications to do that. I went to school to be a sales manager, and now I'm actually a part-time manager over at the local McDonald's. That's the difference. And so that is a huge crisis. And some are saying right now, this is going to leave locals with less jobs to actually go and get, which means they would either have to go and get a job that pays them less, which doesn't meet their qualifications, or they're going to have to move, go somewhere else, and probably pay a little bit more for housing. Go live in a bigger city or close to a bigger city. And that is a big issue. So that's just the new unemployment issue that we're seeing. Some are saying that's going to be a major issue, and chances are it is going to affect millions and millions of people. My guess is it already has. Now, let's get into what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer actually said just the other day. And this is another shocking turn for Congress, which was actually, and this was actually announced through a letter by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. And he wrote in this letter to his colleagues and explained his plan for the upcoming Senate session. Now, the upcoming Senate session was only supposed to be like 2 to 3 weeks, right? That is it. The Senate comes back on July 12th, and they will work until August. Okay? It's going to be about a 2 to 3 week session. Well, here's what Senate Majority Leader said in his letter, and I quote, "My intention for this work period is for the Senate to consider both the bipartisan infrastructure legislation and a budget resolution with reconciliation instructions, which is the first step for passing legislation through the reconciliation process. Please be advised that time is of the essence and we have a lot of work to do. Senators should be prepared for the possibility of working long nights, weekends, and remaining in Washington into the previously scheduled August state work period." So, the reason I bring this up is because many lawmakers, okay, the Senate particularly, they are actually one of the hardest. They don't work extremely hard, but they are one of those that work really hard to push the deadlines, to push and extend and make delays. Okay, and I say this because we see this all the time. We just saw it last year. And Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell at that time, they actually they held both the House and the Senate in Washington. They didn't get an August recess. They didn't get a state work period. They didn't get that because they had to stay in Washington to negotiate the stimulus package at that time that never actually came. Right? Nancy Pelosi even stated that no, that was never her intention to pass a bill and come to an agreement because she just wanted former President Donald Trump out of the White House. And she knew by just making more and more delays, that would essentially do that. Well, what we know is now senators can't delay this package until the start of their August recess and say, oh, well, we missed it. will get it done in September. They can't do that. They now could be forced to stay in Washington and work on the two bills until they actually get passed. That is actually good news. The reason why I say this is good news is because this is going to push lawmakers to not only negotiate, but negotiate in good faith, also bring the bills to the table that could actually enhance the infrastructure bill and not take away from it. What I can tell you right now, okay, and this was the report out, I think it was yesterday, is that President Biden and the White House, Joe Manchin, Senator Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, they all had a kind of a backroom deal where as long as Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema came to the table with Republicans and put together a bipartisan bill, as long as they did that, and the White House and President Biden said, okay, that's good enough. As long as they did that, only then would these two moderate Democrats vote in support of a Democrat-only bipartisan bill. And Joe Manchin said he'd support something about $2 trillion. Well, what I can tell you right now is that backroom deal is now in question because, according to the reports, Nancy Pelosi was not part of that discussion. She was not part of that backroom deal. And not that she is going to pretty much hold out from President Biden, but she is one of those people that she is kind of holding this backroom deal with progressives, and progressives are saying, well, if we can't get the bipartisan bill and the budget reconciliation bill together in tandem to pass at the exact same time, we will not support a bipartisan deal. And that could mean that the numbers just aren't there and this bill will not pass. Again, the Republican side, the GOP, there's not a lot of support from them. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said they would not vote on a bill if we know that there's going to be a budget reconciliation bill on the heels of a bipartisan bill. They're not going to vote on it. So that could mean everything's in question only if, Democrats are not in support of their own bill. And as of right now, they do not have the numbers. And this is both in the House and the Senate. So that's major news, because that changes everything. Nothing will get done if many progressives or Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema decide to hold out and not support the infrastructure packages that are being put in front of them. So we will know more probably within the next week or two. My guess is we're going to start to get some answers very soon, but as we get more answers, I promise I'll fill you in on all those updates as well. But I want to bring you an update on the COVID-related news for today. In a study that was released yesterday, it shows that Pfizer and BioNTech's vaccine is closer to 64% effective against the Delta COVID variant. This vaccine was 94% effective previously without any variants. So some are saying that this vaccine barely offers any protection against the Delta COVID variant, which is the one that is pretty much taking over the United States at this point. This is now becoming the big variant at this time. We also know about there's something called beta as well. I'm not going to get into that, but that's something that we are looking into also. Also yesterday, and this is a big thing, some are questioning whether or not this is due to the fact that this report came out that Pfizer is only 64% effective against Delta, but a report yesterday, Pfizer announced that they are actually seeking FDA authorization for a booster to the COVID vaccine. So they understand that there's going to be, or there needs to be, a booster to increase their efficacy rate of their vaccine, and so they want to start doing it now. Some say that this could be too early, but some say it's better to plan for this now and have it than to not have it when we need it. So I'm just curious what you guys' thoughts are on this as well. Do you think there will be a vaccine booster every single year? Do you think we're going to have to get that? Some say yes. Some say they already got the vaccine, they will not get a booster. But at the same time, I asked, if you get the vaccine but then you refuse to get the booster, is it almost pointless to just even get the vaccine? Just curious. But let me know your thoughts and what they are down in the comment section below. But that's what we know right now. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing so that I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.